Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster doing the beginning part of What If Asta Had Crona's Powers. Now, this is Crona based off of the manga, not the anime, because the endings are vastly different, to say the least. So, we get to, well, before anything else, let's start with this. Okay, so instead of Asta getting at the church at the same time as you know, is going to be a week earlier. But before we get to that point, let's cover a woman. A woman who goes by a title being called a witch, where she has snake tattoos on both of her arms, as well as having the name Medusa. She attempted to create something to surpass a very powerful person. Now, needless to say, that person caught wind of this and did not like the idea of what she was making, especially since she was digging into abilities that were in the realm of the supernatural, using the soul as power instead of mana. Not knowing what kind of potential this thing she was making would do or what it could be fully capable of, he went to attack Medusa herself. Medusa was able to get away with her creation, however, she didn't come out of it unscathed. She had a type of curse of sorts that would slowly kill her over time. She was intending this object to be infused into her body, but she has to put it somewhere else. She couldn't let what she made get into her hands. So she ran as far as she could, looking for a good candidate. The soul within the weapon she made was a soul brimming with a wavelength of madness. So if she wasn't going to be the one taking it in, she'd need to find individual with the perfect type of soul. One night as she was wandering, she saw a woman place down a basket in front of a church. She used one of her snakes to grab the basket quickly once the apparent infant's mother was out of sight. Grabbing the basket, the priest opens the door but doesn't see anything, closing it. Now this is Asta, but a week earlier than when Yuno was dropped there along with him. So yeah. So we get to the point where we see Medusa looking at the child, looking very desperate, as the red marks on her body encroach on the rest of her body a little bit. She takes the time to think and figures she has about a week, or at most 7 days. She estimates 1 week at the least, and at the most 9 days. So she has to hurry and get to work. She takes her creation, a canister of black liquid. Within it, she sees a cross and two odd-looking eyes, looking down at the infant. She then used everything she could to transfer this liquid, the black blood, into Asta safely. The process was completed, and it was a week after, so she was feeling pretty weak. But with the process completed, a little tiny Ragnarok popped out of Asta, asking, "You're looking worse for wear. So, what's exactly with this kid?" As he smirks, stating that, "Found a good one. Your soul of madness? And this one has a wavelength that produces order. I'm quite interested in seeing what you two can accomplish together." Ragnarok looks at the little baby that he's basically the blood of now and states, "Hmm, is he strong? I don't really feel anything special." She loses her smirk, stating, "He doesn't have any magic whatsoever. Though not really in the position to be picky, considering my time limit, and also considering he had the soul, well, a soul that would prove to be most beneficial." Ragnarok states in his little voice, saying, "Fine, so what now?" She states that she's going to take her tattoos and transfer it to this kid. She'll set them with criteria to protect his life, also to protect those close to him, hopefully. But as he remarks that from what she knows, those with souls the wavelength of order seem to have great fondness of their those closest to them and such. Right? Though he'll only won't be able to control it properly until he's able to use you as a weapon. Once that happens, he'll have full control. Ragnarok says, "Alright, and until then," she just states, "watch over him, train him, and make sure he doesn't die." I have a bad feeling that she's tracking down my location as we speak. I only got 2 days left. So I gotta get as far away as from this location as possible. That way she won't know. And she won't be able to find you or this kid. As he points at the name on his little jumper thing, stating Asta. He hurries up, going to the church in the dark, and glides the baby Asta over to the front door of the church, which later on we also see Yuno being placed there by some wind. Now we get to the point where uh, we see Medusa has already transferred her snakes, as she states. "Feels weird not having them with me." As he gets out of there and as far away as possible. So yeah, which as for the meeting with the preacher, it does go same as in canon, though Asta full on knocks one of his teeth out this time. As they grow older, Asta is seen to be quite durable, as well as pretty strong. One day we see that finally asks the question what was with those snake pattern things on his body. Asta thought back as when he was telling a story that the priest told him, where the priest noticed these markings on him, wondering what somebody did to this child. Though then they started to move. He didn't bother them, not knowing what these things would do if he tried to mess with them. Though if they didn't hurt the child, then someone had to put them there to help rather than harm. Doesn't really pay to put something dangerous on a child and leave it at an orphanage in the middle of nowhere just to harm people for no reason unless, you're crazy. So that's what Asta tells but he doesn't quite understand what their purpose is. As they walk around, they encounter a wolf. The wolf goes directly for but Asta gets in the way, holding out his hands. Ragnarok just does a little tick thing, or, you know, as an opening comes from, like, his palm opens up slightly, and we see a black blood needle coming out, piercing the wolf through the head. So, yeah, as the blood then retreats back into Asta's hand, closes up. Asta and were shocked about this. They knew Asta didn't have magic, but they never seen him use it or anything like it. So they didn't know what was going on. Over about a week later, when Asta was alone training and such, because he wanted to get stronger, Ragnarok thought it was be the best time to introduce himself. So he pops out of Asta's back and introduces himself. Of course, Asta freaks out to having some kind of black thing popping out of his back and tries to fight it. Next scene we see is Asta grabbing onto Ragnarok's face, yanking on it, with Ragnarok doing the same, with him telling Asta to calm down as they roll on the ground fighting. Which, since Ragnarok is Asta's own blood, he's technically fighting himself, in a manner of speaking. After they calmed down, Ragnarok started to explain what he is, explaining that he is his blood, his black blood. Asta remarked, "My blood's black? Why?" Ragnarok didn't state. He just said that, well, look, it's not really that important. What is important is that you have no magic, right? But you have me. Consider me more of an ability rather than magic. Something that you can do without burning any mana. Asta kinda gets it, but asks what can they do? Ragnarok shows off his weird little smile and then turns into a cloud, telling Asta to reach in and grab. He does so hesitantly, but when he pulls it out, he sees a black and white sword, as then a mouth forms on it and states, "See, this is only the beginning." Now, Ragnarok's look in this is somewhat similar, but slightly different. This is due to the fact that I would think Asta would have a completely different type of soul than crona. So, yeah, his apparent Ragnarok's appearance is somewhat altered by this. Instead of straps, Ragnarok has these, let's say, these dead branch looking patterns where his straps are on his wrist as well as his torso. They look like some branches of dead trees in a white pattern. So yeah, that also translates to his sword. So we get to obviously the point where we see fighting, trying to get his pendant back from the drunk guy, and Asta coming in to save him. The drunk guy punches Asta repeatedly, but is quick to realize that he might have broken his hand. As Asta yells at him to give back his pendant, he drops the pendant, just leaves, trying to nurse his hand. Thanks Asta and they leave. Asta really isn't that hurt in this canon, because Ragnarok was hardening his blood in order to make him essentially Punching Asta is the equivalent of a normal human punching a brick wall, barehandedly. So, yeah, it's gonna hurt. Well, as they also do make the promise to become the Wizard King and such. Does sneak and follow Asta the train. Well, yeah, he follows Asta trying to see how he's training. As he sees Ragnarok in the blood sword, which steps out asking, "What is that?" So he decides to tell him, with Ragnarok stating that this is just annoying. Though he does demonstrate what he can do. Remember, this is based off of the crona's powers in the manga, the actual crona, not the anime one that they kind of messed up with. Not, doing the actual manga ending and such. So he shows off what he can do. He can sprout blood wings so that he can use his sword while in mid-air, capable of full flight. He's also showing off that he can make blood needles, briars, a defensive wall, and produce a lot of black blood. Like a lot. Crona in the manga put an entire city of Europe inside of a giant blood black blood dome completely filled with it. So entire city engulfed in a uh black blood bubble kind of thing. Yeah. So he is surprised, though glad that his rival is going to be pretty interesting. He also shows off that he can sprout Ragnarok's arms out of his shoulders, as well as produce two additional blood swords. And yes, this is canon in the manga. I will leave a link to the actual manga in the description down below, so I do recommend you watch it. As for the end result of Crona's wavelength thing, that doesn't happen here due to that happened because it was Crona. And this is Asta, so do keep that in mind. And those of you who read the manga, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So we get to the point where it's the beginning of the anime, where we see Austin going to the Grimoire Tower to get their grimoires. Though nothing for Asta, with obviously getting the four-leaf clover grimoire. Asta just leaves, scoffing, remarking that it doesn't matter. Powerful without it. We are powerful. With him hearing the voice stating, "Damn right." As he goes to the train and blow off some steam. Ragnarok was also pretty pissed at all those nobles and royals and such laughing at them, even though that some of them, or well, most, if not all of them, couldn't really stand up to Asta and Ragnarok, even using Soul Residence to use a screeching arrow to blow off some steam. As he heads back to the tower, he finds that defeats some nobles that wanted to burn his grimoire, and the chain mage capturing him. Obviously, Asta goes to stop him as the chain mage fires his chains at him, hoping to pierce right through him. Asta just stands there and tanks it. His hardened blood is keeping them from piercing through his skin. As he looks down at the change mage who used his snake chains, he states, "Snakes, huh? Not bad, I guess. Try these." As he extends his hands, and four snakes come out from his arm, or on his arm. If you read the manga, from appearances, it seems that uh, Medusa has four of these snake tattoo things, and he launched all of them at the Chain Mage. He quickly evaded getting away, though doing so allowed the snakes to break free. Though without his grimoire, the Chain Mage still held an upper hand against Yuno. As he lands, stating, "The hell are you? You don't have any magic. My chains told me as such. His power. What the hell?" As Asta smirks and remarks, "Well, it's actually pretty simple. My blood is black." As his palm bleeds open, summoning the demon sword of Ragnarok, as well as two of Ragnarok's arms popping out of his shoulders, also holding a sword of black blood that looked similar to a katana formation, with the one Asta's holding different than the one that people who've seen the anime know crona from having. A bit wider with a altered shape. Getting stronger, training more and more, caused this kind of development. As the chain mage remarked that Asta is some kind of monster and firing his chains. He's able to break the chains and go straight for the chain mage, though still doing his best to using his magic to evade. Though as he's getting sick of it and going to use an all-out attack to attack both Asta and Yuna, figuring that he could probably focus more of them on Asta and then injure Yuno to help get away, since he's sure his friend will prioritize his wounds over chasing him down. As he, as he charging up, the five-leaf clover grimoire bursts from the wall of the grimoire tower, going in front of Asta, revealing the Demon Slayer sword. As it falls in front of Asta, he grabs hold of it with his free hand. Now with, well, I guess 4 swords. Though, if you count the black blood as a single weapon, well, I guess 2 swords? It's kind of odd, but it's cool. As he fires all the chains at Asta this time, not knowing what's going on, yelling that he has no magic. How does he have a grimoire? With Asta destroying his magic outright with the anti-magic sword. He smirks, retracting the black blood, going directly to the chained mage and gut punching him clean out, sending him flying through the wall. After everything calmed down, Yuno got his grimoire back, and Yuno and Asta had their little fist bump moment to give us the whole flashback with them promising to become the Wizard King. As for training, goes somewhat similar, as he does meet the Diamond Mage, who does give him some pointers on some sword fighting, and is interested in his ability to use a single anti-magic sword and 3 blood swords with 2 additional arms, which he finds pretty shocking, though the diamond mages that come to try to capture his teacher or get pretty wrecked. Like, Asta full on used his blood briars to grab them and ragdoll them around. And training goes as similar as in canon until the day they leave for the Magic Knight exam. This is where we'll be ending it for this part of the What If. Do hope you enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also remember to hit the notification bell and make sure you set the bell to all so that you're properly notified whenever I upload a new What If. So, with all that said, see you later.